give a little background on me and my health. If you're watching this video, you know what parts of me you can like relate to and like maybe pay more attention to. If there's something that you're curious about that I've been through and worked through that I could give you specifically some advice or tips or more content and information on. I'm not saying I'm all knowing, but I have moved through a lot with my health. And I've played a lot around with it, and I'm very, very, very well versed with how my body works and reacts to life. So anyway, I'm gonna sit down because that might be more comfortable for both of us. Okay, hi. So I want to just give you like a little intro into who I am, my background, and that way you can decide better if what I talk about works for you, if it helps you, or if it really isn't for you. Growing up, I was a competitive athlete. I was always in gymnastics, whether that was club or high school. I was a competitive track athlete, and I was into competitive cheerleading. So growing up, I was always moving, always doing something, and I never thought about eating or like being like hungry. Like I never thought too much about food. I just ate when it was time to eat. I never really thought anything about it. I also had a dad who cooked every meal. We did not go out to eat that much. Well, that's actually not true. We went out to eat a lot, kind of. More than you would think for a family of 6, 8. So my dad would cook most of our meals. Like 80% of our meals were made at home every night. That was just something that I witnessed growing up, was my dad in the kitchen cooking stuff. It was always super mid, but it was always very nutritious and like well balanced. So I didn't really grow up loving stuff like bread and noodles and like simple carbohydrate things. I was more interested in like the steak or the chicken dish or the green beans on the side. Like I think I just watched my dad eat and I admired him, so I kind of just followed along with what he was doing. He gave me some tips here and there, like you don't want to eat stuff like that because it's just not good for you. I had a pretty normal upbringing in the way of like food, but I noticed around the age of 16, I remember specifically starting to notice how my body looked, notice that I wanted attention and love from boys, I started like working out extra hard at certain things. So I would do like ab workouts or glute workouts, and I would get complimented, not necessarily by guys, but like I would be noticed as like super fit or super strong, and that meant like I was worthy or something, right? That was like my identity, was like super strong. But the repercussions of stuff like that, of focusing on the external look of things, is that you start to get a little too strict and constrictive with what's going into your body and how it's making you look. And that's just the reality of things. So I remember specifically starting to binge eat. So at meals, I would overeat and I would eat really fast. So I was dissociating while I was eating. I wasn't paying attention, and I was just like a robot, just shoving food into my face. And I actually remember my stepmom commenting on it. She wasn't a very uplifting, supportive person for me. I actually remember mostly just like negative things about myself that she told me about myself. So I think I kind of remember dismissing it, but I did feel like shame about eating in front of people now, because I was like, oh, I look like a demon when I eat. That's like so embarrassing and not ladylike. But I remember also not just eating larger portions when I did eat like family meals, like breakfast, or came home from school for lunch or whatever, but I also remember late night snacking. I remember going into the kitchen after everyone went to bed and making 2 pieces of peanut butter toast with a lot of peanut butter, grabbing like whatever leftovers were in the fridge and eating them cold, like not even warming them up. I don't know, it was just like dopamine and I didn't realize it. That was like the first time I remember using food as any sort of coping mechanism, whether it was from my family situation that started to kind of turn into chaos and turmoil, or it was my love life and like wanting to be loved and liked by boys. That's kind of where that started. Now, fast forward a couple of years, I was on my own. I didn't really have too many family members around me that I was specifically in contact with. And I was kind of like thrown into the world as a super young adult with, I would say, lucky for me, a pretty decent foundation and knowledge of like how to take care of myself, but also the weight of trauma and trauma responses kind of controlling my life. I think I was like 17 at the time, and I stopped being in competitive sports because my life was pretty chaotic, and I also graduated early from high school. So I wasn't working out. I wasn't exercising at all anymore because I wasn't competing. I was eating the same, if not more, than when I was working out. So I started to get chunky. I started to gain weight and really super get uncomfortable with my body, like feeling so uncomfortable. I also didn't have that much money, and I don't know if anyone has ever experienced this, but when you can't afford new clothes and you only have what you have, and you start gaining weight and you like can't fit into them, or like they don't look right anymore, that's so fucking embarrassing and humiliating. And I really sympathize with people in those situations because it feels like everything's out of control. You just feel not yourself. Like who even am I? I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror. That sucked. I mean, that sucked really bad. And I just, again, coped with food. At that time, I was also trying to learn more about health and wellness, which was like kind of not something I learned about growing up. I learned about fitness, and that's about it, which I'm grateful for. I'm so grateful for, because so many people don't even learn about mobility and functionality, and I did, and so I'm really grateful for that. But I started to learn more about like a vegan lifestyle. My older sister was super into it. She was my idol growing up. So beautiful, so cute. Anything she liked or did, I automatically was like prone to falling into or like being obsessed with. I kind of started identifying as plant-based or vegan, but cheat meals and like most of the time behind the scenes ish, I was consuming like shitty food in like high volumes because it was cheap and it was super easy, and I didn't have to like prepare stuff and think, and I wasn't used to dealing with the consequences of actions like that. I was so young, like I wasn't gonna get heart disease in 1 year of being a shithead. I struggled on and off for 4 years. It was like a poverty cycle too, because I like had no money. I was making little money, and I was coping with food, and also in a really unhealthy relationship with a person who was also super young at the time. We were both just like trying to survive with our really negative coping skills, and they were very different, and they both affected both of us in really negative ways. About 4 years after that, I ended up moving across the country to go live with my parents and trying to rebuild that relationship. And during that time, I got back into college. It was actually COVID, so I had to do online college through a community college in Virginia. I started really focusing on my health and my wellness. And it's funny because at that time I was still plant-based, I was still vegan, and my parents were like, what the fuck? They were like, we're not gonna go buy you special stuff. You're gonna eat what we fucking make. To their acknowledgement, fuck yeah, I definitely should have. I'm pretty stubborn in my mind, and when I want what I want, and I want to be able to create that reality for myself and not have to like follow someone else's rules and live under someone else's rules. So during that time, I was still trying to be plant-based, and they did work with me pretty well, but they were also like, if we're having chicken for dinner, we're having chicken for dinner. I'm not gonna go buy you tofu and make you tofu for dinner. And you know, fair. And also I kind of stopped being plant-based during living with them because of that reason. Okay, so here's what I'm trying to say. It was 2020, it was COVID. I was back in school. I was taking care of my health, prioritizing my health. I couldn't go outside. My dad like was scared that COVID was airborne and kind of put that fear into me. So I stayed inside a lot. But I did start going to a gym, which is really ironic, working super hard on my physical strength. I didn't know anything about yoga or meditation. I didn't really work on my like mind or my spirituality, but I did know how to lose weight, and that was restrict my calories and eat whole foods, which was a pretty decent plan, and work out at the gym every day. My body shape started changing. I didn't have a scale. I wasn't weighing myself because I've noticed that's a really negative thing for me. It does not work for me to weigh myself. I just focus on that number, not on the internal wellness of my body or the mental health of my body or the strength or mobility. I just don't ever focus on that stuff if I'm focused on like calories burned, weight on the scale, measurements. Like those things just do not help me mentally at all. So I let go of that pretty early. But my body shape was changing. I was like getting strong. I was like looking more healthy externally. That felt really good. On the high of that, skyrocketed. Like whenever something works well for me and I like it and I'm noticing a difference, I latch onto it so fucking hard. So now I was like paying attention to every ingredient going into my body and like really restricting myself from a place of I'm looking real good and I want to keep it that way and I want to keep looking even better. The year of 2020, I moved back in like August or something to South Dakota, the town I'm from. Not from, but like landed at when I was younger. I was this like hot young thing. I was 21 at the time, getting complimented. I was meeting people and people were like attracted to me physically. I was making friends, and it felt like it was because I was pretty or healthy externally. Like I looked good. That's a story I told myself. Because I took care of myself, because I now look good and fit in my clothes, have this like sexy feminine physique, people like me. I got into working at this dive bar in the end of 2021. That was where I learned all my fucking lessons, which was really cool. But during that time, on the high of I look so good, people like me when I'm like little, when I'm strong, when I'm like healthy and beautiful, I really latched onto the little part, the skinny part. I stopped working out. I stopped the disciplines of taking care of my physical body. But in order to maintain the body I loved, or the body that I thought was like attractive to other people, I started taking Adderall. I didn't start doing it because of that. I was actually just given Adderall. I had no idea like what it was or what it was gonna do. And then I started noticing, oh, I'm like not hungry if I take this. And I'm also super focused if I take this. I really like how my body looks. It's like really little and cute. And I've noticed other people like how my body looks. So that was a really negative addiction I went through, because taking Adderall was such a double-edged sword. I actually don't know what that means. Taking Adderall affected me so negatively because it really distorted my view of like what health was. I was abusing the drug because of how it was affecting my external body and how I looked. Long story short, I got really cute and skinny. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. If I had that body right now, I'd be like, oh my god, it's like so cute. It is. It was cute. There was zero health behind it. I was not healthy. I was not healthy physically, mentally, emotionally. I was actually at my lowest. I was addicted to taking the Adderall because of the effects of it. If I didn't take it, I was the saddest, most depressed person in the world. And I didn't understand that. Like, I wasn't understanding the consequences of the actions I was taking for a while. I think the next year, so in 2021, around May, April, whatever, I realized, okay, I feel like shit, and I think it might actually be directly related to my actions. So I was like, okay, well, I think I have to stop taking this drug. I think I have to try to stop, because I've never been so depressed in my life. I've never wanted to and just not be anymore so hard. And when I stopped taking it, you know what happened. But I also did too, and I also knew it would too. So I accepted, when I stop taking this Adderall, my body is going to gain weight because I'm going to be eating regularly. And that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be overweight. I'm just going to be at a weight, like a new weight. It's going to be higher. Mentally, I never addressed the binge eating. I never addressed the coping skills. They just turned off because of that magic pill. So when the magic pill went away, all of my negative habits were still there. They were just being suppressed. So I started learning about health. I started learning about food. I started learning about cooking. I was so excited, but at the same time, I was watching my weight grow bigger and bigger and bigger. I didn't mind it at first because I was like, I'm getting healthy. I feel better. I feel alive. I don't want to every day, and it's crazy, wild. I kept on this path. I kept learning, but eventually I realized that health is more than just nutrition. There are other levels to health that matter just as much, because I was getting winded walking up the stairs to my house. I was not fitting in my clothes once again, and all of this stuff because I was just getting overweight, and I wasn't paying attention to the mobility and the strength and the endurance part of health, the physical part. I started working out again, and I still slowly introduced in Pilates and yoga, and I fell in love with them. Before 2021, you would have never caught me working out at home. That was like, actually in 2020 when I was going to the gym before our gyms opened, I worked out in my garage, which was pretty badass actually. It was pretty fun. But as soon as the gyms opened, I was like back in the gym, because for some reason for me, that's the idea I always had of working out. Like, working out is at a facility. So I fell in love with working out at home because I could work out in my undies. I could work out naked if I wanted to. I could work out at any time of the day and incorporate that into my day-to-day whenever. I didn't have to work super hard to go somewhere and put on makeup and like look cute, which I also loved doing, but I didn't always have the energy for. So Pilates transformed my physique, which was exciting and also another downfall, because when you look really, really, really fucking good to yourself and you have like the history I had, it's really easy to be like, fuck, I'm gonna do this way for the rest of my life because this is the results I've gotten. It's just another addiction. It's just another form of dopamine. And so it wasn't the exercise and the health and the healing that I was necessarily getting that turned me on. It was how I was looking. Once again, how I was looking. And I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling great too, and I knew that. Like, I enjoyed that part too, but when it boiled down to it, if I wasn't looking good, I wasn't doing it. whatever the object or activity was. A couple years go by, I'm on and off working on my sobriety with alcohol and nicotine, and I end up working through that. That's a whole nother video, and I don't really want to talk too much about that sort of addiction all the time because I've noticed a group of people like start to kind of cling onto you whenever you talk about alcohol and drug addictions. And I also don't identify with that version of myself anymore, so I don't really want to have a whole bunch of conversations around stuff that doesn't affect me anymore, because like I said, I've noticed people like to cling on to you, and it's really cool to inspire people, and I've been inspired by a lot of people, but I don't want to make that my personality. It's not my personality, and it's just something I went through. It was just a chapter of my life. But anyway, I'm also not ashamed of it, so I will talk about it occasionally and bring it up just to let you know, like, I am human. I have been through some shit that I definitely put myself through. I stopped working at the bar eventually. I was a sober bartender for a while. Then I was kind of on and off, not out of control drinking by any means, but definitely caved into like taking a shot here and there and just not really enjoying the mentality of working at the bar anymore. I was kind of ready to do something different. I started working for a naturopath at one of my local health food stores, and my entire life changed here because this woman taught me for the first time in my life health of the body. She taught me how the body functions, and she taught me how to support those functions. She also introduced me to my favorite doctor online. Her name is Mindy Peltz, and I talk about her all the time here because she's just an angel who just wants to teach people to empower themselves with their health, to take their health back, to gain their health for the first time in their life. She's an angel, okay? So during this time in my life, it was fucking sick because I was so excited. I was so in alignment with what I was already deeply interested in, and every day I went to work, I was meeting people and helping people and working with people. It literally felt like my highest passion. Every part of my being was like pumped every single day. It was the first time in my life where I woke up every single day so fucking excited to be alive. First time in my life. And I think at this time I was 23, maybe 24. I might have been 25. I don't really know. That was a couple months of my life. So I think it was from like the fall of 23 to like spring of 24. So it was a pretty short time, but it was so transformational because I discovered fasting. While there was still a part of me that was super attached to how I looked and enjoying the benefits of being slim, being lean, being healthy, honestly, I was actually now learning about how my body worked and how to like work with it and not against it. I still had the mental issues and I was still slowly, timidly working on them, noticing them, processing them, but I was really transforming my physical body's health through nutrition, through fasting, and through exercise. So I was deep into Pilates. I was deep into yoga. I was deep into fasting and longer fasts specifically. And I got down to, I think I weighed myself once and it was like 147 or 148. Now, depending on who you are and your own history, that probably doesn't sound like the smallest weight or like the littlest weight. I am 5'3" and 3/4. I have a very muscular build, so when I am a weight that low, I am pure muscle. I mean, there's hardly any boobies left on this body. Even my ass, which is, it was smaller because like I burned so much fat off my body. So I was looking really lean. I was definitely and 100% since I was 16 years old, the smallest I had ever been. It was unsustainable. And I did not want to believe that or admit that for so long. And not because of the size I was, but because of the mentality and the beliefs I was carrying during that time. They just weren't the same. Like I was doing amazing stuff for my body and believing I'm not worthy of this. This isn't gonna last forever. This is too good to be true. I always fail. And yeah, I'm not worthy of it. I'm not worthy of this was like the next 10 things. And those thoughts were beliefs that I had carried about myself since I was young, and everything started to kind of turn into chaos in my life. I started realizing the only stories in my head I ever had of myself were really negative and really not uplifting. I slowly stopped fasting, not really intentionally, but more because I fell out of it. I slowly stopped working out. The beginning of 2024's summer, that was the summer where I have to work through so much in my head before I actually make and integrate real changes into my life. So I can gather up the motivation to start working out again or to start focusing on my food and eating healthy again. To integrate the real deep lessons and learnings that I have come across and started to understand and know, it takes time and pisses me the fuck off, but it does. I was learning a lot. I was listening to podcasts, listening to YouTube videos, listening to this doctor, listening to a whole bunch of other people's stories, and trying to integrate all of them at once, and that's not sustainable. It's just not. Overwhelming yourself with too much shit, it's not sustainable, because eventually you'll be like, I can't carry 20 different things all at once, especially learning about 20 different things all at once and then trying to also integrate them. It just doesn't work that way for me in my brain. And also I definitely got I got diagnosed with ADHD. I was learning a lot about myself. I was in therapy. Actually, I'd been in therapy for like all of these years, like the last 4 years I just told you about. I put myself in therapy and I was trying to work on my patterns and my coping skills and my belief systems. And it was difficult because it was easy to notice and it was easy to talk about and it was easy to identify, but it was way fucking harder to not judge myself, to not criticize myself, and to not shame and hate myself. So there was a lot of work I was trying to do. I ended up getting my shit together, kind of. I would say right now is the most healing, transformative time of my life, because I have all of the space in the world to do everything I need to do, and I'm really focusing on the integration process of mentally reprogramming my beliefs about myself, what I deserve, what I can achieve, what I can sustain, and also showing up and doing the work every day. And it's tricky and it's really, really hard. I love working out at home because it's free. It costs zero money and you can just show up however you want to show up every day, whenever you want to show up, whenever you can show up. It also taught me so much inner strength that I didn't realize I could tap into. I've never felt so connected to my body than when I discovered Pilates and yoga. Super grateful for my body, super grateful for everything it's carried me through. I love walking as a form of exercise. It's actually my favorite exercise, and the time in my life when I was the physically healthiest, one of my workouts was walking, which is amazing and super transformative in my mental health as well, because it was like not only meditation but also I would catch myself practicing going through my thoughts and hearing my thoughts and hearing what my thoughts are saying to me and being like, oh, that's actually not very nice or uplifting. Meditation has calmed me down. It has taken me out of my emotions and my thoughts, and it has pulled me back into a seat of consciousness where I kind of just watch my life without judging it, without criticizing it. And I know how that sounds, but honestly, it's possible for you. And if you want the books that I've read and you want the podcasts that I watched, I will definitely give them to you. Transformative, absolutely transformative. But I don't judge my body. As you can tell, I'm sitting here in high-waisted grandma panties. I'm just gonna exist for you. And I hope that helps you see that you are allowed to just exist without judging and criticizing your body, because honestly, all of our bodies are just trying to help us. That's it. As far as nutrition goes, I am really practicing cycle syncing. So the way my brain works, I am really into routine. I am so deeply ingrained in creating and operating on a routine because that really helps me stay on track. It helps me assess my goals. It helps keep me focused. I don't take medications for ADHD, and that has been a very interesting path to choose. Because I do know the deficiencies that can be common with ADHD, and I do supplement in those ways. So with adaptogenic mushroom blends, and also just nourishing my gut and keeping my gut super healthy and strong, because the way that your gut and brain function, they are directly correlated. So if I want this to be operating the best it possibly can, I've got to keep my gut healthy. I work out at home. It's my favorite thing in the world. I'm super focused on my cycle. That's super important to me because as a woman, we are operating on a system created by people who operate on a 24-hour cycle, and we are beings that operate on a 28 to 30-day cycle. And that doesn't work. And it never worked for me. Now, I'm not saying everyone can just like escape that reality, but knowing your body and how it functions, it is way easier to exist in this world, setting boundaries for yourself and in your life that way. So I eat in according to my cycle. I fast in according to my cycle. I move in according to my cycle. I create content in according to my cycle. And doing that has taken so much pressure off of me and made me so much, it like skyrocketed my work output and my mental health, and it skyrocketed my ability to sustain the life I'm living. And I just honestly am so grateful to be where I am right now. You know what's funny is I often find myself thinking like, why do I deserve this? Why do I deserve to be here? I like didn't do anything better or different than a lot of the people I know. I feel like shame and guilt about the situation, the awesome, amazing situation of life that I'm in right now. I think that's a really silly thing to do. I think that we need to have gratitude in our lives no matter what our life looks like. Accept the things we were given and do something with them rather than like criticize the fact that we don't believe we're worthy of them. That's like so silly. And also how you lose stuff. I just wanted to say that really quick. It was way easier to start this video talking about my past than to explain why I'm talking to you in the first place. But I have struggled with disordered eating on and off. I've struggled with mental beliefs that cause actions like coping mechanisms, and I've really struggled with my belief system because I didn't grow up with a motherly figure who uplifted me and made me feel good about myself and made me feel worthy and made me believe that I could achieve and do literally anything I fucking wanted to. I had a dad who was really uplifting, but my stepmother didn't give me what I needed then, and because of that I had really, really negative beliefs about myself. If I were to take the blame and give it all to her, then that would completely victimize me. That would make me a victim, that would make me hopeless, that would make me helpless. And I'm none of those things, and neither are you. Knowing that that affected my belief system in that way gave me all the power to adjust it. Gave me all the power in the world to realize the real truth and reality is that none of that was true at all. And I can believe whatever I want. The belief system I carry is going to determine the actions I make. Basically, that's who I am. My name is Jessica. I have been through a life. I then put myself through another life. I'm just kind of gathering the pieces from all of that, from all of my childhood and early adulthood, and trying to get every lesson and tool I can out of them, because it doesn't help yourself to become a victim of stuff. It actually just holds you back and chains you down, and they're your own chains. They're not chains from the past. Oh yeah, if I'm just telling you about myself, I love to ski. I live to ski. I went skiing last week and I was hooping and hollering. I was going down the mountain like screaming, barking like a dog, being so fucking weird, but I like couldn't help but like express verbally how fucking excited I was to be alive. And yeah, that's really cool. I love to rollerblade. I don't like to do anything competitively anymore because comparison is not my thing. Competing is not my thing. I really don't like it. I don't even like to compete with myself because I'm a different person than I was in my past, and competing with yourself is still competing and still comparing, and I'm not into it at all. So I just like to play, honestly, and I like to play on skis. I like to fuck around. So I got into the park rollerblading a couple years ago. I haven't been back since, but that was pretty cool, pretty scary. I love fashion, and I don't mean fashion like high fashion brands and trending things. I love using my clothing to express myself. Now, that's a pretty hard thing to do when you have no money. But for a while, I used the thrift stores. So I would go to the thrift store, and if there was anything super cute and I could afford it, and I was like, oh my God, that's so me, then I'd grab it. And that's way more doable than like trying to buy new, beautiful, organic, whatever clothes. But I love fashion. I love the female body and the shape of the female body. So using clothes to enhance and to appreciate essentially the shape of the body is so beautiful to me and so much fun. And yeah, it like almost brings a smile to my face just thinking about fashion. I think it's really fun. I've always been super interested in it, but now I'm more interested in it from a perspective of expressing myself and feeling in alignment with who I feel like I am in this life versus trying to look a certain way for other people to like me, which is really badass. I don't know when that transformation happened. I know it happened slowly and not quickly because I still catch myself thinking some thoughts, but they are not near when I was 16 years old. I don't have any tattoos, which is kind of weird because I'm 26. It's like pretty old to like have never had a tattoo. I used to have my nipples pierced, but one of them rejected 3 months ago, and it was insane because I had them pierced for years, and then suddenly it just went out and like started trying to like not be there anymore. So I just took it out because I was like, what the fuck? And that was really weird because I super identified with that. I'd never thought I had like the most conventionally sexy body or appearance. So when I pierced my nipples, I was like, I'm a bad girl. I'm a cool girl. And I just like heavily over-identified with it. That's so funny, but I'm like, if I'm being honest, that's true. I live to cook. I live to create food, and I have a partner who loves the wilderness and exploring, and that has really ignited my interest in nature and connecting to nature. And together we go out into nature, and he builds an area for me to cook, and then we cook outside together, which has been a new beautiful exploration and been so much fun. I love to swim. I love to be in water. I love to be naked, which sounds naughty, and if you sexualize that, then I don't really know what to do in that scenario, but being naked makes me feel like my most deepest, truest self. So when I go into nature, I like to be naked. When I swim, I love to swim naked. I love to suntan naked. I just love to connect with the earth while I'm naked. It just makes me feel alive and connected, which is super cool. I haven't had any girlfriends for a very, very long time because I don't know. When I was in high school, I had some really badass friends, some really dope friends, and I ended up losing them through my family trauma, and then my first relationship I was in was really not healthy for me or the person I was in the relationship with, and I think those friends just couldn't watch anymore, and I was pretty helpless, like I wasn't helping myself, so they had to leave, and I do understand that, and that was really sad and hard for me. It's so funny because I actually still think about those people all the time and only wish them the best, and I still sometimes mourn that girl who I was who lost those really powerful, beautiful influences, but it's just all love now, and I wouldn't be the person I am today had my life not turned out and moved the way it did. But in my bartending years, in my sobering up years, I didn't have any friends. I had some like acquaintances and people that I would be friendly to and that I actually did feel like love for. But as far as like deep connections goes, as far as like transformational relationships and healing relationships, that was just I was so far away from all of that. And then in my healing years, in the last 3 years, I would say, oh my God, I've only been healing for 3 years? That's actually kind of cute. I didn't even think about that. Wow, I'm like a baby in healing. That's so funny. Aw. I isolated a lot because of the town I was in and the people that I knew that I was around. I lived above a bar still, so I just really isolated and kept to myself, kept my energy to myself, kept my dreams and ideas and goals to myself because I didn't feel supported by the people I was around and by the people who would come around me often. And that was hard. That was really hard, but I absolutely wouldn't change it for a thing. It was so necessary and, like I said, deeply transformational. So I'm so ready to connect, to find friends that are in alignment with me and support me. I have so much love in me saved up from all of the years of just wanting to be loved so bad and just wanting to be a good person. I have so much fucking love saved up. It's crazy, and I am just waiting for my people. And I know they're there. Guys, I know you're there. And my heart has been cracked wide open in this past couple of months, and I'm like so fucking ready to share this deep amount of love I have for people, with people, real people in real life. So I'm really looking forward to that. I live in Colorado right now. I fucking hate it here. I'm not from this area. I'm from South Dakota for the most part of my life, and so coming to Colorado, it's silly. People here are not my style. I don't hate them. I don't feel super negative about them, but I don't feel relatable to any of them, which is so surprising because I thought people in Colorado probably care about health and they're probably wild Western people, and that's not the case anywhere I've been. Not the health part, people actually do really care about that, but it feels really superficial. A lot of stuff in Colorado feels really superficial, not like the Wild West where I'm from. So I really do miss my roots. I am moving home in May and I'm so excited for that. I literally am like shaking, and right now I'm in a deep transformational period. There's 2 months until I move, so for the next 2 months it's just work on myself, take care of myself, create from what I'm learning, and just keep moving forward step by step every day. Time flies so fast, it's crazy. I'm in isolation. I'm like only 15 miles out of town, but with the windy highways and stuff, I'm like 30 minutes out of town, so I'm like all alone out here. It's fucking boring. I want to talk to people all day, and in my dopamine fix, when I'm like searching for a fix of dopamine, I use the internet because I'm like trying to connect to people. I'm trying to like have compassion with myself over that right now because I'm just a person and I just want to connect and like have friends and like be seen. But at the same time, it is definitely addiction right now. My heaviest issue weighing on me, besides not doing my taxes yet, is using and abusing technology. My phone, the TV, just for dopamine, just to scroll. I will literally spend all day scrolling and have several times. So that's something I'm working through right now. If you have any advice for me, that would be dope. I love learning. I live to learn, and I used to be super critical and judgmental reading people's advice on the internet, and then I realized that no one gives you advice because they don't like you. Like, anyone trying to give someone advice in any way is like, you know? So I love people's advice. I love learning people's experience. And if you have anything that you like want to know more about me, or like any questions that you have, I would love to talk more about them. But I just realized, like, if you don't know who I am, it might be pretty helpful for you to know who I am if you're gonna watch my content, and you might understand me a lot more and like why you see I do the stuff I do. Oh, something I didn't talk about was I was never diagnosed with OCD. My dad has. I have a mother who, she was never diagnosed with anything mental health wise. I'm not trying to air out her dirty laundry, but she has. And I can definitely see a lot of her in me, and because of that, I'm trying to take really great care of my health and my body and really work through these mental conversations that happen in my brain, because I have the tools to take care of myself early on, and I don't have to live the fate that both of my parents are currently living. But yeah, I definitely struggle with some OCD stuff, so I try not to show it all the time because it's just like excess footage that is like unentertaining. But I constantly clean stuff as soon as I'm done using it. There's like just specific stuff that I catch myself doing that I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I like feel like I can't not do it. Beans. What else is there, buddy? Can I scoop you up? Oh my god, you guys are gonna see beans? Beans is a big boy, but he's doing really good because he's on a diet now where he eats in the morning and he eats at night. He's looking really good to me. He's looking less and less round each day, which breaks my heart, but also I know he's gonna live longer, so that's really cool. When I move to Spearfish, when I move back home, I think I'm gonna get a puppy dog. And I found a puppy dog before and it didn't work out. I had to give him away because I wasn't doing well. I wasn't taking care of myself, and I was in no situation to add on another person under my responsibility list. Oh my god, there's hair all over my fucking face now because I just put tallow on, which is so funny. I'm ready now. I'm excited now. Like I said, I have all this fucking love to give and no one to give it to. My kitties are tired of me. They're like, stop bothering me. I need to sleep more. I'm honestly just rambling at this point, but if you're still here, hi. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you so much for taking the time to hear my story. It's actually probably about 4 days longer than this video that I just made, if I'm being really honest, my whole entire story, but no one's gonna watch that. As time goes along, I will definitely talk more about a lot of the stuff I've been through because it really did shape me. But I also want you to know that over identifying with your past, especially your traumas and your failures and whatever, even your successes, is really pretty unhelpful for your present situation. It's nice to analyze stuff and get to know yourself better, but beyond that point, it can be a pretty negative thing. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a really good rest of your day, and yeah, until next time, bye.